Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Conversation 21. Can you believe it? It's been 2 weeks already. I know it's a cliche, but time really does fly, especially when you're having fun and planning a wedding and a holiday and all sorts of stuff, which actually brings me very nicely to my topic for today's conversation, which is the importance of rest. um, as a culture, as a society, in all cultures, and sort of a society as a whole, as a world, as human beings, we like to do things. We are doers, and we like to get stuff done, and we like to be out in the world. We like to socialize. We go to work, we earn money, we we do things. We like to be out and active and creative. We are creative beings, and we like to get stuff done. And so this concept and this idea of resting, the resting, and not resting in a sense of just sitting and doing nothing. Whilst that is necessary, sometimes the human body needs to actually just sit and recover, especially the reason why we need sleep. And that varies from human to human, 4 to 10 hours a night, or 4 to 12 hours a night that people need. Um, and by all means, look into the science of that and what the right amount of hours it is for you that you need per night. So of course there is that physical rest, that physical sleep, and rest and recuperation that we need to survive, to function. And I know there has been studies done in psychology, where this man, he actually got famous for it right before he ended up dying. But he wanted to experiment to see how long he could stay awake for. After I do this video, I'll try and find the study, and I'll put it in the link below, in the information below this video. So he wanted to experiment and see how long he could stay awake for. And I think he successfully stayed awake for 3 days, like the equivalent of like 3 full-on days, or something like that, either 36 or 72 hours. Like I studied this way back in A levels, so when I was about 16. But it just came up into my mind now, so I thought I'd share it. And um at the end of this experiment, he basically harmed himself by not sleeping. Um and I think he ended up in a vegetated state, and then in a mental hospital, and then eventually he just died. Um, so I know that's one person, but I'm sure there are other studies as well. But it is very evident that, if you haven't had a good night's sleep, or if you've got kids, you know what lack of sleep can do to you. And so we know that as a whole, that sleep is very important. That element of resting, recuperating, and recovering for the next day is of importance. We can see it in ourselves, we can see it in our children, our family members, our friends. You can tell if they haven't had a good night's sleep, they can be quite grumpy and low energy. Equally, you can have very little sleep and then still have energy. So there's a hearsay about that too. Um, but fundamentally, resting on the human body is very important. And so there's that, like I said, it's not just about physical rest, and physically doing nothing, but there's also this other thing going on, this mental rest, this psychological rest, this spiritual rest. So it's almost like there's, three types of rest: physical, spiritual, and mental. Because our mind can really do a number on us, and it can really wreak havoc. It can go like a hamster wheel on a million and one things that we need to do. And we could get a really good night's sleep. We could get 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours sleep. but we wake up feeling very tired because as soon as we wake up, we're back on that hamster wheel, that mental hamster wheel, and there is no rest. And when we're just going and going and going, and that's what leads people to burnout. That's what leads us as a human race to burnout, to ending up in really like bad mental health states. And so to avoid that, it's putting rest and work on the same linear, on the same in the same category. That cleaning your house, going to work, earning money, taking your kids to school, all of these things are equally important because it's like a domino effect. If you're just constantly running that mental hamster wheel and you're not choosy about what you're feeding your mind, you're not noticing, you're not having that awareness to what's going into your mind, what's going into um your 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 spiritual self, your soul energy, that aura, what are you surrounding yourself in? And if that sort of hamster was just going and going in the background and you're not noticing it, it can leave you feeling really, really wrung out. And this is where the spiritual side comes in, that if you're not familiar with my channel, then the basis of what, like the foundation of what I share is implemented, that we are both 100% spiritual and 100% human, that there is this higher power, God, I'm happy with all the words that there are for God. So you find your word that works for you. It's not really affiliated with any religion as such, but God, higher power, universe, there is a something more than us humans. Because if it was just on us humans, the human race would cease to exist. But that is probably a conversation for another day. So when we tap into that spiritual side of us, and we trust and know that the things that need to get done will get done when they get done. It's like when we have that pressure, and it's this we've made it up. It's this made up pressure that we put on ourselves. I'm a nanny to two school age children, and they get homework, in my opinion, way too much. So there's just so much homework going on. And for a very long time, I battled with that homework. It's like, okay, so they need to get their homework done, they need to get it done now. And I could feel it, and I'd be sort of prepping myself. I could feel the tension in my body like an hour before work even started. And then on my way to school, okay, how am I going to manipulate them and encourage them and coerce them into doing their homework nicely and peacefully without tantrums? And it was always hit and miss. It ended in tears, it began in tears, ended in tears, bit of shouting, this, that, and the other. And it was just all around horrendous. And being an after school nanny means that I only spend about 3 hours with them. And that's how it was. 3 hours of just arguing and fighting and persuading. And can you just do your homework? And there's this internal battle in my own self that I disagree with homework. So that's what I'm giving out, that homework is a bad thing. And that's my energy, that's the aura that's coming out of me, that homework is bad. So of course they're going to react the way they're reacting, because at the end of the day, what we see in our reality is being mirrored. So whatever's happening on the inside has to be mirrored out in form. It has to be mirrored out. So if you want to know where you are internally, if you want to know, sort of like if there was a spiritual monitor, like a thermometer, but a spiritual version, and you wanted to know where you were on that level, like how high you were, and I guess like in this metaphor, the higher you are, the closer to God you are, the lower you are, the further away from God you are. But again, that it's not really like that, because you can't really move away from God, because God is everywhere. Um, and so I really, really saw what I was doing to myself and in turn my children. So I was like, okay, let's play with this differently. Let's change this. And I decided, like, it just occurred to me to just look at it differently. Like, homework is what it is. And I've got this many hours, in fact, like 2 hours to do a lot of things, to get the dinner on, to feed them, to give them make sure they've done their homework and eaten enough food and drank enough water and get in the bath. And I've got 2 hours to do all of this in. So I let go of all expectations. I just said, right, I'm just going to let go. It, and it wasn't so much a doing, it wasn't like I don't know, this is what I'm going to do. It kind of just happened. I had it in my head that I want this to be different. So show me something different. And via the way the world works or the way life works is when you ask for something, it's just you've opened a door. You've opened a door to possibilities, and then you get to see those possibilities. And so because I asked that question, can I see this differently? Can there be something different when it comes to homework, because it's an everyday thing? And I want my everyday to be a lot nicer than it's been. And since I asked that question, everything just softened. Homework got done, dinner got done, bath got done early. Like all of these things, just it's like it felt like I did nothing, because all I did was surrender to what is. So I surrendered to what was in front of me. It's like I rested, my mind. I let go of that hamster wheel. I really just settled that and laid it to rest. I laid all of that noise, that nonsense, that habitual homework is bad and they shouldn't, they're so little and they should be running around in the park, and I just let all of that go. And it's not fair. And I really just dropped and I surrendered and I rested all of that noise. And within that rest came the miracle that I had a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old doing their homework nicely. And don't get me wrong, there's moments where there's tantrums and frustrations, but it just doesn't affect me in the same way it used to. Because I can see there's something I've seen differently that I can't go back and see it the way I used to, because the door has been opened. My eyes, my heart, my soul has been opened to this new possibility. And so when I talk about the importance of rest, it's not just, oh, okay, so sit on the sofa and do nothing. I must do nothing. You can get a million things done from a peaceful, restful state. You can feel so at peace, so calm, and still get all your things on your to-do list done, and in fact more, because when you open that space in your heart, in your mind, that it's been filled with so much noise, it's been filled with, how am I going to get all this stuff done? I don't have time to get all this stuff done. Only if only these people could behave in a certain way, then I could get this stuff done. Maybe if I could have help. And so you're taking up all your time and energy on all of that mental noise, that habitual hamster wheel that just goes round and round, and that's what burns you out. It's not the to-do list in and of itself, because the way we're set up as human beings is that there's always going to be stuff to do, always. You cook dinner, there's washing up. You have dessert, there's washing up. You have breakfast the next day, there's washing up. There's always going to be something more. You're going to get a new idea. Oh, I know, I'm going to sprinkle in the house this weekend. Oh, I'm going to go for a 10K run this weekend. You're always You're always going to get a new idea, a new thought. We're not static. We're not made to be in one place, forever and always um in one feeling. We're not made to stay in one feeling, one state, one thought. We're moving, living beings. We're here to have a full-on human experience. But when we can add a little bit more rest into our daily lives, there is just a magic that flows, which ties really nicely with the topic, my conversation 20. So if you didn't hear it, do go back and listen to it, which is, the art of slowing down. And slowing down to the speed of life. It's just so beautiful when we surrender to what life is giving us. We surrender to the speed that we're going at. We can't go any faster than we're going. And another insight that I had just yesterday, walking to work, and it's like we have this idea, I don't know about other women, but for me, I'm 31 and I don't have my own children yet, and I should have had children already, and I really want children, and I'm 31 and I'm going to be 32 this year. And it's like we have this, for whatever reason, we've decided there's this, body clock. And I never thought I was affected by that. I never thought that was a thing in my mind. I never thought that was something I picked up on, because I always, as a child, I always wanted to be different. I wanted to stand out from the crowd and be different to everybody else. I love my age. I don't mind that I'm older. It's okay that I'm going to be 32 this year. It's I've always wanted to be different than the crowd. And so this whole internal body clock, and, oh, I'm too old to have a baby. And um I never thought I was, I guess, victim to that, lightheartedly. I never thought I felt victim to that kind of idea. But I noticed myself thinking it, and I'm like, no, this is not true. It's just not true. It's just something that we've made up innocently and accidentally. It's popped into our mind, and we've decided to run with it. We've decided, like, not even deliberately. It's not a decision. It's just something that we've taken on as truth. That we've just believed is true. And I didn't even know I was believing that until yesterday. And it's like I stopped it completely in its tracks. I laid it to rest. I saw what I was doing before it was even a thing. It's like, it's fine. I can have a baby at 32 or 33 or 35. It's okay. It's not my timeline, it's God's timeline, it's life's timeline if God isn't your word. It's not our timeline, like, as these finite human beings that we're here for 100 years or so. We get to roam around the place and create things and make babies and have all these really cool ideas. And it's not up to us when they happen, how they happen. It's not down to us. And when we rest to that, when we surrender to to what is and to the speed of life, there is this magical essence, this magical flow that allows you to be in life, like, fully and wholly, and no matter what is happening, that whatever's going on, whatever waves and things that are coming your way, whatever circumstance, situation that you're facing, there can be this eternal rest. There could be this internal and eternal rest and peace, that your your wellness is not at risk here. You're not at risk. Your safety's not at risk. You're okay. That you can really just rest in the that faith and reassurance that you're held, that there is something higher holding you and guiding you. So that was conversation 21. And as it is a conversation, I do love to keep the ball rolling. So if you've got follow-up questions, if you want a free one-to-one with me, just a chat, if you just want to jump on a Zoom and just pick my brain a little bit and like really sort of play devil's advocate and ask more questions and to just get to know more about what I'm sharing and to deepen your own understanding, because you're here, you're exploring, you're clearly curious. And so if there is something that's resonating with you, and there is something you want to know more about, I love to talk and I love to listen. And so just email me, comment below this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, like this video, share this video if it's relevant. And yeah, just I love to talk, and let's make it happen, because it's so great to sort of question our human and spiritual um being, and to really question who we are at deeper depth. So yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you for conversation 22 in 2 weeks' time. Bye for now.